Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I posted on another platform. The message reads like this: Hello my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? My brother, my story, it goes on like this. The secret that I want to reveal to you, it is not my secret as such, but it is a secret about my mom and my father. My father is a ritualist. He was, and he is still a ritualist. Well, my father and my mother, they were always open about them being ritualist. They told us everything that they did, but at the end of the day, they gave us their own explanations as to why they ended up doing whatever that they did. So the story that we were told by our parents was that my father and my mother had been staying in the village. After that, my father, he then traveled from the village and he came to the capital city of our country. When he came to the capital city of our country, he then started working at this other garage. Whilst he was working at that garage, that was when he thought of a small business idea. He wanted to start a small business. Back in those days, there was no Uber like we have right now. There was no such a thing like Bolt. They used to have these private cars that they used as taxis. Let's say that if you wanted to go somewhere, you would be driving in a private car, so you would hire that private car from someone else. They used to call them private taxis. My father, he had saved enough money. He then purchased his first vehicle. After he had purchased his first car, my father then started using that car as a private taxi. My father said that what started happening to him was that it was bad luck after bad luck, and his car, the one that was now operating as a private taxi, it was not profitable at all. It was actually running at a loss. My father was losing a lot of money because of this car, and the car that he had purchased, it kept on breaking down each and every time that when this car would be out on a trip, the car would always break down. My father was so desperate because of the way that he was losing money. My father, when he found out that he was too desperate, after looking for a solution, he was then taken to a traditional healer. The man that took him to a traditional healer was a businessman. He was from Malawi, and he was having a lot of these private taxis. He had a lot of cars. This man that assisted my own father, he took my father to that traditional healer, and he told my father that this man was going to strengthen him so that he won't operate his business at a loss anymore. That was when my father was taken to that other neighborhood that is called Tafara. When he was taken to that neighborhood, he then met another man as well who was from Malawi, who was the said traditional healer. My father then had to pay. He actually bought this Tokoloshe. When he bought this Tokoloshe, it was not expensive. It only costed him 100 Zim dollars, and at that time the Zim dollar actually had a lot of value, so he purchased this Tokoloshe for $100. My father, after he had purchased that Tokoloshe, he said that it was not something that was scary at all. Rather, he was given a black egg. He only said that he found out that this was a strange creature after the egg had hatched, but at the time when this Tokoloshe was sold to him, it was nothing but a black egg. Then my father returned back home carrying that egg, and he had been told that he was supposed to keep this egg that had been given to him, which was black in color, in a place that was always safe. And when he arrived home, he told my mom about everything. He never kept this thing as a secret, and my mom agreed as well that this is the life that they were going to be living now. One day my father said that when he looked around, he saw that the black egg was no longer in that place where he used to keep it. And when he saw that this was the case, he started looking around, and he saw that it seemed as if this egg egg had hatched itself. So he looked around because he wanted to see what kind of an animal or a creature that had came out of that black egg. My father said that he looked around and he looked around, but he could not find anything. Later on, when my father was not around, my mother was the one who was doing the cleaning. As she was doing a cleaning, she looked around, then she saw that there was this other certain creature that was quite strange. This creature, the way that it was like, there are those insects that are called lice. These insects, they usually grow in people's hair. If you are not taking care of yourself, and if you are not being hygienic enough, that is when you start to develop these insects that are called lice. So he ended up naming this Tokoloshe of his that had hatched itself out of that black egg that had been given to him, Chifukuto. And if you have ever stayed in the village, you know this insect very well. This insect, what it does is that if you keep your maize grain or any kind of grain in an enclosed area for a very long period of time, when you open up the maize grain or whatever grains that you would have kept for a very long time, you will see that there will be very small insects that will be busy eating off the grave slowly but surely. That is why my father ended up calling this Tokoloshe Chifukuto. This is what this Tokoloshe does. Slowly but surely it is eating off my father's relatives. So this creature could actually speak with my father. It then happened that this creature suggested that it needed blood so that it can keep on surviving. When this creature told my father and my mother that it can only survive on blood, my father then went back to that man who was from Malawi, but unfortunately the man had returned back to his country. My father then went back to that big businessman who had a lot of private cars, and they spoke about this issue. That man then told my father that he was supposed to do whatever his Tokoloshe was requiring from him, and this man, according to our father, was said to have a very big farm, and on that farm he had a lot of cattle. Each and every year, this is what that businessman used to do. He would actually go to that farm and he would sacrifice some of his cows towards his own Tokoloshes that were keeping his businesses afloat. As for my own father, the problem was that when he went to do these rituals, my father was not rich. He didn't have any money, because that man had said to my father, all that you have to do is to make sure that you purchase some cattle, then you start to sacrifice those cattle to the Tokoloshe, as it will be asking you for blood. My father then had tried to take out a bank loan, but later on he could not repay that bank loan. Things really got tough in the country, and there was no way that my father was ever going to afford to purchase a cow so that this creature can feast on the flesh of that cow. According to my father, he said that he was only able to do this for only a year. My father then started suffering a lot and he could not manage to do anything. Then there was a day when my father said that he had returned back from work and feeling very tired. When he entered into the living room, he went straight and he sat on the sofa. And when he sat down on the sofa, my father had not realized that the small creature was actually resting on the sofa in which he wanted to sit. And then that small creature got so angry at my father, and he asked my father why he had done such a thing. And then this small Tokoloshe started beating up my father. It beat up my father so much that he got sick and he nearly died. All of that time when my father was sick, he could not actually go to work. And my father, because of the bad luck that he had faced in his business, he had actually been driving that taxi because he could not afford to hire any other driver. And when my father fell sick, his whole body was swollen all over the place and he could not walk, he could not do anything. Then my father, seeing that he was about to die, that was when they spoke with this Tokoloshe, and this Tokoloshe had told them that if they cannot provide any blood for it to survive on, then this Tokoloshe was going to eat up all of their children, including me, because they had failed to offer a sacrifice to it. My father then negotiated with this Tokoloshe, and my father then said that was it not possible for this Tokoloshe to accept another sacrifice, rather for my parents to sacrifice their own kids. The creature then said that it was possible for my father and my mom to sacrifice any of their relatives. Then this small creature told my father to look for a pen and a paper, and on that pen and the paper, what he was supposed to do was that he had to write the names, and the names that he was supposed to write, these were the names of the people that it wanted to be sacrificed, the blood that it was going to require. This creature then named the first name, and the first name that it mentioned, it was of our auntie, who was my father's sister. She was the one who died first. Just like this Tokoloshe mentioned all the names as my father was writing each and every name, that is the way that people in our family are supposed to die, and this is how they died. And after that, my father told me that after he had written the names, then that Tokoloshe instructed him to go and find a spot whereby he was supposed to bury that piece of paper that had the names of his relatives that were supposed to be sacrificed to this Tokoloshe. And amongst these names, there were also the name of my mother's relative. My father then went outside and he started digging a big hole around this other small mango tree. And this mango tree, my parents said that it was one amongst the first trees that they had planted at the time after they had purchased their house in the city. Right now, this mango tree, it is a very big tree. It is still even there. That is the spot whereby my parents told us that they buried that piece of paper that contains the name of those people that had been mentioned by that Tokoloshe. And whenever it wanted blood, then it will just tick off from the names of the people that it made my father to write down. As for me and my siblings, we are not even wealthy, whereby you can say that your parents, they are ritualist, then you are supposed to be wealthy. We are not even wealthy. We are just living a normal life. When my father did all of these rituals, the explanation that they gave us was that they said that they did this because they were trying to give us a better life and they were trying to give us a better opportunity. But my parents, they are so poor, my brother. I don't even know why they ended up doing this. They said that each and every human being make a mistake, and they said that after they had found out that they had made a very big mistake, then when they tried to return back that black egg, it had already transformed itself and it had become a Tokoloshe. He then thought of ignoring that issue, and then this Tokoloshe started demanding blood, and that was when he sacrificed his own relatives. So this Tokoloshe, my brother, according to my father, this small creature, what it looks like, it is more like that insect that I told you about that is called a lice, that usually stays in people's head, those ones that are not hygienic. My father said that this creature can actually fit in the palm of his hand, and this creature, it has the head of a man, and this is the creature that has been making people to die in the family. Whenever it wants blood, it will just take one amongst those people that have their names written on that paper that was buried just close to that mango tree when it was still very small. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me from one of our dear listeners.